And we're back with this special edition of Sexual Assault Awareness with Sergeant Joy Simmons of the Delaware State University Police. Before we left off, we were getting into body image, and now we're going to delve just a little bit deeper into the topic of Amber Rose and her recent feminist walk. So recently in the media, we see Amber Rose, and she is marching along with millions of other women against sexual assault and against the ideology of men that believe that if a woman is dressed like that, she deserves it. What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, the idea that a woman deserves to be exploited because of the way she's dressed, because of the way she looks, because of size, for any reason whatsoever is simply criminal in and of itself.
Absolutely.
Intent to commit a crime often starts in the mind anyway. So to have a mindset that a person actually deserves exploitation or to be harmed as a result of their appearance is totally unacceptable.
Absolutely.
I would parallel that to the idea of, let's say, something like a petty theft or a burglary. Does the image of a home determine whether or not it should be burglarized or not? A home could be completely vacant. All the furniture could be moved out of the home, but on the outside appearance of it, it could look very, very appealing to the eye. So that home may be more likely a target, more likely to be a target for a burglar. But once they enter that home, they may be sadly disappointed.
Right.
Whereas a home that may be run down, or a home that may give the appearance to not have much, but when a burglar happens to enter that home, may have a lot to offer in value. And so we can't place a price tag on the value of a woman. We cannot diminish the value of a woman based on her size, her stature, what she's wearing, what she's not wearing, and then decide what her fate should be. And so
over your course of being sergeant, how many young women will you say that you've actually dealt with that have been sexually assaulted?
That, I didn't bring an actual statistic with me, and I would hate to just give you a random number.
Absolutely.
But I would answer that question by saying this: one is too many.
Yeah.
And I can say that I can count beyond my two hands the number of women that I have made contact with in reference to being violated sexually.
Absolutely. When you get into, the conversation, and not to go into what you talk about with them, I want to know about the yes and the no. Mm-hmm. And are young women expressing that they are saying no and still being taken advantage of, and what yes means and what no means?
I would have to go back to that coercion piece, where on both parts, the female and the male, or the perpetrator and the victim, need to be educated. They need to have an understanding of what their communication and lack thereof at times really truly means. What I'm seeing is that if a victim has had communication with a male in the past, and in the past they've made it clear that a sexual encounter is not where my interests lie, even while they're in the same space. If the victim states a sexual encounter is not what I'm looking for today. And throughout the course of their time together, the male hears her, but that's all he's doing, is hearing her.
Right.
So his goal then is to figure out how to make that statement, that no, that lack of interest in ensuing a sexual congress with him, how to turn that into something that could potentially gain him access to her physically for a sexual encounter. He may begin to offer her things or do things to make her feel exceptionally special. And she then may feel like she owes him something, or she may then just kind of freeze up. She may begin to develop thoughts in her mind, well, if I say no to him, or if I don't allow him to go ahead with this, even though I really don't want to do it, then I may then be an outsider. I may no longer fit in. I may then have to deal with some of the backlash if this gets reported. And so sometimes it becomes overwhelming mentally and emotionally for the victim, and they may often do things like freeze up and just allow the offense to happen. They may allow it to happen even though in their mind they're thinking, I don't want this to happen, and they may not fight it off. They may not yell. They may not even report the incident ever for some people, and for others they'll report it way down the line, months and months, even years sometimes, after the offense has happened.
Does it prove true that those that commit the act of sexual assault have been sexually assaulted in the past?
Once again, that's another question that I did not provide a statistic concerning. However, it's a general rule of thumb that hurt people hurt others.
Yeah.
And so I would say that there is a possibility, not just that a person who sexually assaults someone else has been sexually assaulted themselves. It could be that they have had some other violent behaviors or acts. It is also important to note that it is not the natural and normal way for men or for anyone to just want to perform or behave in this way. In general, there's really a small percentage of men who actually sexually assault others or have it in their mindset that they are deserving of this level of power and control, and those people are normally repeat offenders.
Right.
Those are people who may commit the act on multiple occasions.
So mental health can actually play a part on the victim as well as the predator.
Indeed, it can.
So let's talk about mental health when it comes to sexual assault.
Okay, we can talk a little bit about that. And once again, I'm not an expert at mental health. However, there are plenty of studies that confirm that victims of sexual assault are, one, traumatized.
Yeah.
The trauma that they experience is not only cognitive, it's also emotional. Sometimes it even surfaces as a physiological response to what has happened. They harbor illnesses and ailments due to the inability to function after the assault has happened. And then as far as males are concerned, their need to feel in control of something at times as a result of potentially being bullied in school or being abused at home could have been a trigger for this onset of mine. And as a result, we have the tragic experiences that individuals have, and we define them now as sexual assault.
Right. Before we wrap up, I definitely want to talk about our last issue, which is the non-hetero assault. And like we were saying earlier, sexual assault has so many layers. So before we wrap up, let's get into that topic, non-hetero assault.
Non-hetero assault. Non-hetero assault is a very sensitive topic. While we are very progressive in our nation with learning to accept that individuals are identifying with their sexuality more publicly, and our nation is doing more to support their willingness to do that, and I believe that will assist with reporting. The sad fact is that there are people who are not involved in heterosexual relationships who are abused, who are assaulted, and because they're already dealing with feelings of acceptance due to their sexual preferences, that they do not feel comfortable enough to report or to disclose that they have been raped or hurt. And this stands true even more so for the male population, because just because a male is involved in a gay relationship does not mean that he doesn't still have masculine feelings and he doesn't still have an ego. And so at times that may present a challenge for a male to accept that someone took advantage of them because he is still a man. And as far as females are concerned, you then have a lot of emotion involved. Not that men don't, but you now have a lot of emotion, and you have matters of the heart, especially if the individuals are in a relationship or seeking a relationship. And once again, it goes way back to my last comment about acceptance. The need to feel accepted, the need to have support in the decisions that people make is very important. And seeing that non-heterosexual relationships is pretty new as far as the embracing of it as a nation, that I believe presents some challenges for individuals who are practicing non-heterosexual sexual preferences.
Wow, very deep stuff. Thank you so much, Sergeant Simmons. You really did a phenomenal job breaking down what sexual assault truly means, and all the areas of it. We couldn't get into everything, but we definitely went deeper than the surface, I can say.
Okay.
So thank you so much.
No problem.
This wraps up this segment of sexual assault awareness with the Delaware State University Police. I had a phenomenal time being educated, and I hope you will as well. Remember, Around Campus will be next week. Stay tuned.